Good evening, dear sisters and brothers. Welcome to the evening session of Being Heartful Every Day with Swadhyaya. As we continue exploring the theme of inner purification, today we reflect on the transformative role of cleaning, the conscious process through which the heart is relieved of accumulated impressions. Purification is not an abstract ideal, it is a living process that gradually restores the natural simplicity of the inner being. Over time, experiences leave subtle residues. These impressions quietly shape reactions, influence perception, and create heaviness within. Cleaning helps dissolve these layers, allowing the heart to return to its original clarity. When impressions are gently removed, the systems regain balance, lightness, and natural harmony. Impressions are not always visible, yet their effects are unmistakable. They may appear as recurring emotional patterns, persistent restlessness, or subtle inner fatigue. When left unattended, they accumulate quietly, influencing our responses and narrowing the freedom of awareness. Inner purification through cleaning works by releasing these stored residues from the system. It is not suppression, analysis, or forceful effect. Rather, it is a gentle inner clearing, like removing dust from a surface so that its natural shine reappears. As impressions dissolve, the inner environment becomes lighter and more orderly. Reactions soften and the clarity increases. The heart begins to respond to life more freshly, less conditioned by past traces. In practice, in our daily abhyas, the inner purification unfolds through simple and consistent methods. Meditation helps refine our awareness, making the inner field more receptive and sensitive to subtle change. Cleaning directly addresses the accumulated impressions of the day. With the gentle intention, the system is freed from emotional and mental residues, allowing natural equilibrium to return. Over time, this regular cleaning prevents congestion from building and it helps maintain inner transparency. Dear sisters and brothers, if these BHED sessions are supporting your practice and reflections, we warmly encourage you all to share them with others who may benefit. You may introduce them to Heartfulness Masterclasses, the BHED sessions, so that they are also being benefited. You'll find the additional reading material on this theme, also the videos of Revert Daji on Heartfulness app under the Sunday tab dated 15th Feb. And you all are encouraged to explore this additional material available for strengthening our understanding of this theme. With this, we now resume our reading, which we have started from the Heartfulness magazine, the article by beloved Taji, which is titled as The Art of Removing and Creating Habits, Part 7. We will resume reading from the para happiness and mental well being. So let us all read this together. What are the qualities that develop as a result of mental purity? In his Yoga Sutras, Patanjali defines four of them. The first is happiness. Inner purity leads to happiness. How? When our consciousness is pure, we can easily connect with the center of our being, the soul, where we find true inner happiness. The first heartfulness guide Lalaji wrote, the causal body or the soul is the instrument of joy. Nay, it is joy itself and cannot exist without bliss and happiness. It is important to understand this. Happiness does not come from the body or the mind, it comes from the soul. When we meditate every morning, we connect with the center of our being through the heart, and that is aided by transmission. Transmission nourishes the soul just as food nourishes the physical body and problem solving nourishes the mind. By nourishing the soul, transmission promotes joy and happiness in our lives. And as we awaken to progressively deeper spiritual dimensions of existence, we experience subtler and subtler levels of joy and happiness. It is not that we stop caring for the people and mind, but we simply lose interest in their charms. Both body and mind are vehicles of our life here and for our evolution, but they no longer limit our existence. Our understanding of beauty also changes. Beauty becomes an outer expression of inner purity, not of skin color, the shape of a face or body, or the level of intelligence or thinking capacity. All prejudice drops off as a result. The soul is our common connection with the divine. Everyone is beautiful when we look into their hearts, beyond the qualities and characteristics of their bodies and minds. When we view ourselves and others from this inner perspective, there can be no prejudice and no hatred. In fact, all the yamas become automatic. Think about what this means. It is only through purity that we will attain real peace and harmony in this world. Until that time, people will continue to define themselves by their bodily characteristics like skin color, sexual preference, and outer appearance, or by their mental and emotional characteristics like mental health, intelligence, problem solving ability, emotional maturity, belief systems, etc. They will remain boxed within their compartments and only see the differences between themselves and others. When people went to visit my guide, Babuji, he didn't look at their faces or their clothes or anything external. He wasn't interested in their level of education or their religion or their status. Instead, he looked into their hearts and knew everything about them by the signature of their inner world. In the early 70s, the first seekers from West traveled to meet him in northern India, and many of them said that in his company they felt pure love. They were accepted for themselves, and it was such a liberating experience. His innocent lack of judgment and his capacity to love and accept universally were natural outcomes of his purity. Such a refreshing state of openness and love was untainted by preconditioned beliefs and thinking patterns. Of course, that does not mean we dress without consideration for the people with whom we interact. What we wear reflects our attitude towards others. Concentration. Second, inner purity leads to concentration. This is a simple one to understand. When we are primarily focused on the body and or the mind, all the processes of the body and mind draw our attention. The senses are active, thoughts distract us, and emotions control our moods and behavior. We may have a deluge of thoughts and feelings every time we close our eyes to meditate. When the field of our consciousness is not purified, we are burdened with all sorts of complexities. For example, worry, anxiety, restlessness, anger, fear, confusion, guilt, shame, and grief, depression, excitement, and passion, just to name a few. When that same field of consciousness is purified, there is stillness, peace, and contentment. We can then concentrate our attention easily because nothing deviates us from what is in front of us. There is in clarity instead of confusion. We'll put a pause here to the reading. Dear sisters and brothers, let us offer the universal prayer now. All brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है. May our hearts remain light, pure, and free from any impressions. Dear sisters and brothers, as you prepare yourself for the rest tonight, take a few moments to sincerely offer your reflections of the day and the bedtime prayer. Gently review the day and with humility resolve not to repeat the mistakes of the day again. And let this resolve support the ongoing purification of the heart. Dear sisters and brothers, thank you for joining this evening session. And we look forward to your presence for the morning session tomorrow at 6 a.m. Until then, wishing you all a very good night and a good rest. Thank you.